Ke go dumedise Motlatsa Somlomo. Hide nothing from the masses of our people. Expose lies whenever they are told. Mask no difficulties, mistakes, or failures. Always bear in mind that the people are not fighting for ideas, for the things in anyone's head. They are fighting to win material benefits, to live better and in peace, to see their lives go forward, to guarantee the future of their children. That is what was said by Amilcar Cabral. Eskom has requested for an 8 billion rand clawback from the revenue determination that NERSA had previously approved. This clawback has been approved by NERSA. By doing so, NERSA has acknowledged that its previous estimation of Eskom revenue is different from the actual outcome of revenue from Eskom's operations. The accounting profession calls this a budget variance. Statisticians call it an estimation or a prediction error. What we are considering today is whether a prediction error of 8 billion rand is acceptable or not. The Umkhonto weSizwe Party's view is that a variance or prediction error of 8 billion rand is not a trivial matter. In fact, it does not qualify to be called an error. It is a fundamental error in estimation. It points to a fundamental flaw in the revenue estimation model of NERSA. More importantly, it points to the fundamental flaw in the operating model of Eskom. We all know that the single biggest expenditure item in Eskom's books is the cost of primary energy. We also know that the biggest source of energy in South Africa is coal. About 85% of energy comes from coal by the amount of energy that is produced. However, by value, in rand terms, coal is 90% in NERSA's revenue determination model. So if you tamper with any of the other things, you're not doing anything. You have to go to the source, which is coal. This means that the price at which Eskom purchases the coal has a direct bearing on Eskom's cost and therefore the price of electricity that the consumer pays. Eskom, as a large consumer of coal with numerous suppliers, has the ability to negotiate, at least in theory, the ability to negotiate in its favor the price at which it purchases coal. This, in theory, makes Eskom a quasi-regulator of the price of coal.
Honourable Member at the podium, could you please take your seat? There's a point of order. Honourable Milam.
Madam Deputy Speaker, would the Honourable Member take a question?
Honourable Molefe, are you prepared to take a question?
No, I will not, Madam Deputy Speaker.
The member is not prepared to. Please proceed, Honourable Member.
Eskom should not be a price taker in the coal industry. It should rather be a price maker. And yet, in reality, the opposite is true. Eskom officials rarely stand up to the bullying by rich coal mining companies who do not hesitate to use political and other methods, other forms of pressure to force exorbitant coal prices down the throats of the Eskom officials. The outcome of this is that the resultant high price of electricity is, in fact, a transfer via Eskom and NERSA of money from the clients of Eskom, especially the poor, to the rich coal mining companies that feed their insatiable appetite for profit. To put it crudely, Eskom and NERSA are just conduits which extract money from South African citizens, especially the poor who are surviving on minimum starvation wages, to give to the rich coal mining companies. The 8 billion approval that NERSA has approved and about which we are today clutching at each other's throats is, in simple terms, money that NERSA as a conduit, will be taking from the poor working class South Africans to give to the super rich coal mining companies to feed their thirst for profit. The Umkhonto weSizwe Party believes that it is the price of coal that should be regulated and not the price of electricity. After all, Deputy Madam Speaker, coal is a natural resource that South Africa is endowed with. Government issues the licenses to mine coal and then buys it from the licensed mines through its 100% ownership of Eskom. We believe that South Africans have a right to enjoy the electricity that is generated through Eskom and the coal that is a natural resource. A state-owned company without having to pay the exorbitant prices through a system that is akin to an extortion racket. The cost of renewables are part of allowable revenue in the NERSA price determination model. Although the cost of renewable energy is decreasing, they remain relatively high, and renewable energy sources do not yet have a solution for the problem of their stop-start nature. They are intermittent. The cost of this stop-start nature of renewables in the system is not built into the revenue calculations, but its effects are felt by the consumer. REIPP contracts are designed in a manner that forces Eskom to buy at whatever to buy whatever they produce, and even when they are not needed, and when the system has a surplus energy. Eskom is still forced to buy from the REIPPs. In addition, the National Treasury provides sovereign guarantees in favor of these renewable companies. The National Treasury has promised to pay these companies in the event that Eskom is unable to buy their electricity or pay them. The value of these guarantees to these companies is currently sitting at about 900 billion rand. As the MKP party, we are curious to find out, Deputy Madam Speaker, as to who are those who breathe the air that we breathe, but walk around with sovereign guarantees of 900 billion rand in their back pockets. Perhaps Parliament should initiate an inquiry into the issue of the ballooning of the state's contingent liabilities. The exposure to this risk is not a trivial matter that should be taken lightly. It is an issue that might well end up driving our republic into bankruptcy if we do not ask the difficult questions and seek to fully understand its implications and the motives of those that are driving us into a contingent catastrophe. The NERSA price determination methodology allows for recovery of diesel cost by Eskom, where it is found that the use of diesel was prudent and unavoidable. The open cycle gas turbines at Chorigwa and Ankerleg were, however, designed to also use gas and not diesel. They require a small modification for them to use gas, which is much cheaper than diesel. The decision to make that conversion was taken by management and the board of Eskom many years ago, but never implemented. The cost of diesel can never be prudent as long as Eskom is refusing or unable to convert Ankerleg and Chorigwa to allow the use of gas to run turbines. It would appear that there are interests that are served by the use of diesel during load shedding. We do not support the recovery of diesel costs in this process. As the President General of the ANC, Comrade Oliver Reginald Tambo, said in a message to the External Mission in 1971, we who are free to eat and sleep at will, to write, to speak, travel as we please, we who are free to make or break a revolution, let us use our comparative freedom, not to perpetuate the misery of those who suffer, not to give indirect aid to the enemy they fight by withholding our contributions. Thank you.